And welcome back to Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We are here with our pre-draft wrap-up episode.
Yay!
Just one last episode. We're through all the rookie rankings we're going to do. So now it's time for us just to have a little fun before the draft happens tomorrow. Reminder to all you guys, we will be live on air on YouTube.
I forgot to take the logo down at the camp up again. Here
Whatever.
we are. Hey, what's up?
As you can tell, we've drank a little bit. Yay!
That's what happens when we record 2 episodes in a day.
It's going to be the case for most of the rest of the offseason. So
Just wait till we
get
get
used
to
to
Brian
it.
Hoyer
Get used to
again.
it now. Yep.
Or the Kyle Rudolph incident.
Ooh, I saw white lightning.
Don't know what we're talking about. Did I just lose my mic entirely?
Yeah, we lost.
Yeah.
I lost your mic.
Your last year, Mike.
All right, well, we'll pick this up while you're figuring that out. So on Thursday, we will be live on YouTube, Beerfield Fantasy Football on YouTube if you want to watch that. We'll tweet out a link for you guys as well. But we're going to be going through every single pick. We'll be playing a drinking game where we have to predict the pick. We'll probably be doing shots. So if you just want to watch us roast most of the NFL draft and do some commentary.
And look roasted while doing it.
We're going to be roasted while roasting.
Roast Inception. You're good.
Am I back?
You-
Okay,
You may,
we're good.
you may,
You're
you
back
may come
again.
in the door.
I don't
You
know.
may come in.
I don't know what happened there.
Hopper's back. Tell a friend.
I didn't change anything. I don't know what that was all about. But
Yeah, she's
okay.
back.
I just randomly lost my microphone channel.
Well,
It's
you're
a Wednesday
you're back
episode.
now.
We're
It's
gonna
all
look.
that matters.
We're gonna look and sound drunk on Wednesday.
White
episodes.
Lightning just muted me. That's what happened.
It should mute you. I approve of
Cadillac
that.
3 was like, "Psh, nah, bitch.
Cadillac 3 is just like, nope.
Shut that mic down. Shall we get a beer preview in?
Yep. Can I? Okay, cool. I can still talk. I didn't know if it was just related to that or.
That'd be kind of funny if it happened every single time. I wouldn't be amused.
Nick would really enjoy it.
All right. So we have Old Bakery beer on for the first time. They're out of Alton, Illinois. This is their citrus wheat beer. Apparently USDA organic, which I'm not sure what that implies. Comes in at 4.7%.
I'm going to assume it applies that it's organic. That it's an organic beer.
So apparently it is an unfiltered American wheat beer brewed with lemon peel, orange peel, coriander, and chamomile.
All right.
So this is just outside of St. Louis for those of you who don't know where Alton, Illinois is.
Yep.
I don't. So good to know.
It's right over the river. Fast
And through
Eddie's,
the woods.
Fast Eddie's Bon Air is there. They're delicious.
Okay.
And the loading dock is also a pretty good stop there. There's a lot of cool things in Alton. I've actually been to this brew house before.
There's actually a lot of breweries in Alton, isn't there?
There's a lot in that area. I know that this one specifically I've been to. I don't know about the rest of them, but Alton, Belleville, just outside of St. Louis area, there's a ton.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it for the beer. We'll get a full beer review in once we cover hashtag landing spot matters.
Landing spot matters.
I'm so excited. I can imagine you have so much fun putting these together.
It is a lot of fun.
I'm like,
I
oh
mean,
my God, I
get
hear
to
so
be-
many different noises.
I get to be creative with it. It's fun.
And Dan's so excited he just talks right over the drop
well, I enough for me to still hear it.
for you to still hear it.
I love our listeners. I promise.
All right. So the concept of this is we're going to look at the top 5 of each position that we've gone through in our previous rankings. So our top 5 players and where we want them to land and where we don't want them to land in the upcoming NFL draft. Starting off.
Oh shit! I didn't make any notes for don't want them to land.
It's not that
It shouldn't be that hard. It's any team that I don't list as to where I want them to land. So
All right. Starting off with quarterbacks.
He is right.
Our top 5 in order was Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson, Josh Rosen, and Josh Allen.
wait, this wasn't individual top 5. It was consensus.
It was consensus.
Okay,
you should make notes for your top 5.
I sure did.
I wrote it out in the show script what the top 5 were.
Well, I thought those were your top 5.
No,
No,
I only ever do show top 5 when I do notes for you guys.
Okay, well,
Always prepared.
that's
never-
okay. I'm good. I'll be all right.
It's supposed to be fun.
I'll be all
anyways.
right. We're pretty chalk on most of these. So
Starting off with Baker Mayfield, where do you want to see him land?
Browns.
Broncos.
I like that too.
Broncos was my choice as well. I figured it gives him the best outside weapons, and he's in a situation where he doesn't have to start immediately, but if they decide Keenum's not the guy, it's an easy transition, and he can go in and have 2 great outside weapons to work with.
Long term, I think it's the best. The other teams I had listed were the Jets and the Browns. The Jets he could come in and start immediately, and anchor that rebuild.
I just love the Browns because of all the weapons that they're putting on that actual team. They signed Jarvis Landry. They bring in Carlos Hyde. They still have a decent offensive line, even though they lost Joe Thomas. You have a tight end in David Njoku, and we've seen what Mayfield can do with the tight end position. So,
yep,
excited. I don't think he'll go there,
it's
but
about
excited.
one of the top quarterbacks that haven't been linked to, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
The next couple they have been.
All right. Darnold.
I've got the Browns listed first for him, and then the Giants were second. But Darnold's the guy that I think needs to go someplace where there's a bridge quarterback in place. The Broncos could be the other one. And I like him a lot with the Browns, with the arm talent, the athleticism. He doesn't need a lot of polishing. He's not Josh Allen. He just needs a little bit. And he's a guy that if something were to happen to Taylor, I would feel okay with him, coming in and not Kaisering it and shitting the bed completely or anything.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a bad landing spot for him. I think if you can go to a team, like even if a team like trades up, like a team like New England trades up, or like the Cardinals or the Patriots, where they are, or at least the Patriots and the Saints have established quarterbacks.
Well, remember what hashtag landing spot matters is about, though. It's about what happens to their fantasy value.
Fantasy value
based on their landing spot.
I want him in Cleveland or Denver.
I want him in Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland, or the other place I said was the Giants, just because he has great outside weapons there, and Eli probably is there for just 1 more year. So it's probably going to be a Mahomes situation.
He needs, and that's what he needs is a Mahomes situation.
All right, Lamar Jackson.
Buffalo.
Ahead.
I want him on a team that can start from day one. I think he can go out there and beat A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron, he's just a fucking guy at best. I know that you love Nathan Peterman, Hopper.
No, it's not that. It's the fact that they were so disjointed from Tyrod Taylor, who's the same type of quarterback, that I don't think there's a chance in hell that this happens.
I don't think it will. It's just I want him to go to a team where he can start from they can start from day one, so you can get to see his fantasy value from right away. Because I think he could end up like Tyrod Taylor,
And then he can be out of the league in 3 years.
maybe
5.
Yeah,
Sorry,
5.
he's a first-round pick.
Yeah.
All right, I put down Arizona because I want to see him do run read option with David Johnson.
Yep, and
that would be fun.
And
too.
he'll get a chance. I like that more because he'll get a chance to start there when Sam Bradford gets hurt in week 4.
week 2. or week 1 after we saw last year.
Or doesn't even make it to the season.
Yeah.
But he'll still have Bradford around, who, when he's healthy, is a good pocket passer, which is the area that Lamar Jackson has improved in, but still needs to continue to improve in.
Yep, gets the throw to Fitz over the middle of the field and gets one of the best running backs in the league.
I changed my choice. I like Arizona more.
I like Arizona a lot for him.
All right, Josh Rosen.
A dumpster?
No. So the first team I had down was the Bills because I think that he is what they hoped they'd gotten in Nathan Peterman. He's got a stronger arm than Peterman does, but other than that mild athleticism, pocket passer type of player, I still don't think he's going to be a great quarterback, which also fits the Bills because they tend to waller in mediocrity. But I think he's what they had hoped for in Peterman. The Patriots and the Chargers are the other two that I had listed.
I put the Pats down as mine, but I also I do like Buffalo. I think he needs to land at a spot that can kind of hone. Like he's got an attitude issue. You've seen that. Which is why I had him going to the Patriots as as that potential spot. He can he's obviously not Tom Brady, but he's got this I'm the best attitude, and he has this I'm an elitist attitude to him, and that just kind of fits in with the Boston theme.
All right, I don't think it's going to happen, but I actually want him to go to Cleveland because they have the best offensive line. They have a bridge quarterback, so he doesn't have to start right away, and they have good outside weapons. So he struggles with pressure a lot. That was my biggest knock on him, was he can't handle anyone rushing at him. So I want him to go where the best offensive line is if I want him to have the best fantasy success.
Yeah, I just don't like him long term in general. Anywhere.
No, this is about where they should land
Yeah.
to be the biggest boost to their fantasy stock.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be Cleveland, even though I don't think he's going to go there. And then last one, Allen.
I put the Jets down first because he'll get to sit behind Josh McCown, who was kind of a late bloomer. He'll get to learn a bit. And he can anchor that rebuild as a guy that has a ton of talent. The Broncos and the Giants were the other two that I had listed. It's about the same reasons. I have more outside talent there. I could see him landing anywhere. I want him to land anywhere he doesn't have to start immediately.
And this is where mine jumps in from the Pats and the Saints. They're more. It's because he gets not only learn behind a Hall of Fame quarterback in Breeze and Brady, but learn with Hall of Fame coaches and Belichick and Sean Payton, who have helped build these top quarterbacks up. Something that he's going to need. He's got the mold and the build that you want from a top quarterback. You just have to work with him on that mental aspect of it.
Coaching staff for him is actually a really good point.
It is. And then if he lands in a team like New England, he gets Josh McDaniels, who has worked, pretty well with some of these quarterbacks. Obviously Tom Brady, but even, Jimmy Garoppolo and Brissett, who is all three of these quarterbacks are going to be starting potentially next year.
Yeah, New England was one I didn't put down, but I do like. I put down New Orleans and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's another one that fits that same mold.
I was more afraid because I don't know what Mike Tomlin can do with quarterbacks. I don't know if it was more Todd Haley than it was Mike Tomlin.
He's so comparable in some of his traits that have been. That it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly, and that's because that was my first actual spot. I was actually thinking about was Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and for me, I specifically threw it on a worst for him. I don't want to see him in Buffalo, New York Jets.
That was my number one worst spot is Buffalo. Don't start D1 because you're gonna
don't want to see him in Buffalo. The Jets I'm a little more okay with, and that's again it's because of McCown. He'll at least get a year.
And there's Teddy, and then Todd Bowles has actually worked wonders, or has helped to work wonders with two aging quarterbacks.
So I think Bowles probably ends up getting fired this year. Just I don't think that team is going to improve enough. But I hope he gets a second chance.
He better get a second chance.
They shouldn't have been anything last year, and they were. He deserves to hang on for that rebuild.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to running backs. Up first, of course, is Saquon Barkley. Where do you want to see him land?
Giants, Colts, Bucks were the three that I had listed. They all need running backs. The Giants seem to be pretty enamored with him. So any one of those three places, though, he's going to go. He's going to be the immediate three-down back, the immediate starter.
Yeah. Any team that wants to be up-tempo, any team that wants to use three receiver sets with one tight end or two tight ends with the Bucks, and then one running back there. Or I know you can't do that. Three receivers, two tight end, and a back set, but at least with that standpoint.
Yeah, I've had the Giants down just because I like that they've added Nate Solder, gone ahead and added. They have great offensive weapons with Shepard, Beckham, and Ingram, so he shouldn't see stacked boxes. It should make it real easy for Barkley.
Yep.
Where do you want to see Darius Geis land?
I put Indy. Probably the best chance for him to, I believe I heard somewhere, I wanted to say it was the Fantasy Sports Shows podcast, said there's 270 carries that are vacant from last year's roster. A lot of those, not all of them, I don't say all of them, but a lot of those would go to Darius Geis.
Indy was also first on my list for Geis as well.
I put the Buccaneers for Geis. I had another person I'm eyeing for Indy myself.
Well, I put multiple players in the same team as top landing spots.
I put multiple, but I don't want to talk about the same teams all the time, so I'm going to try to.
Yeah, I try not to, but
yeah, for the Buccaneers, he would have no competition. He'd even be the pass catching back on that team, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Who do you got for Chubb?
The team I had first so the first two teams on my list are very interesting. I think I put the Seahawks down because he's the type of between the tackles runner that they desperately need, that they seem to value in that offense, and they've desperately been missing. And I think he could come in there, even though the offensive line's not good. I think he's dynamic enough and he's good enough to where he could come in there and produce for fantasy. And I think that the fit makes sense. And the other one I put down is the Panthers. He's a guy that wasn't used a ton, is a pass catcher. So you partner his between the tackle ability and outside running ability with Christian McCaffrey, and there's your Jonathan Stewart replacement.
Yeah, I put both Indy, and Carolina for the same reasons. You have CMC, with Carolina as their pass catcher, and then Marlon Mack as a change of pace pass catcher in Indy.
Yeah, I want him with Mack in Indy. That would be a great setup. The two of them would be a great combo where Mack can occasionally run between the tackles, Chubb can occasionally catch passes, but the two of them have a pretty set, defined role of what they're going to
I like the Seattle one, too. I have another player down for Seattle.
Yeah,
we'll talk about here.
Indy is another good one where he fits for the same reasons I mentioned for the Panthers.
Yep.
Sonny Michel.
I put the Giants down for the same reasons as with Barkley, and that's just because they like to use three receiver sets, tight end roll. Michel can smart runner, obviously, and then he is at least shown to be a decent pass catcher. He could, fit in that role and then have some potential day one production.
Go ahead, Nick.
I put down the Broncos for him now that they got rid of C.J. Anderson.
Yep, that too.
I think he and Booker would be a solid pairing where he would take the majority of the work, and then Booker or Henderson would be the complementary back to him.
I agree with your take on that. He's one of them I didn't list because I screwed up how we were doing this episode. But yeah, I like the take on Denver for Michelle.
All right, and then last one, Royce Freeman.
I had the Bucks down first for him. I think he is a dual threat back that can come in there and do everything that he needs to do as far as a pass catcher, as far as a runner. So I absolutely love him with the Bucks. I had the Broncos down second for him though.
I put down Seattle for Freeman. This is for the same reasons that you have Chubb in here, except that Freeman's shown to be a decent pass catcher. I know they have McKissick there.
Pro-size is still there.
And Pro-size.
And Davis.
Yeah.
I know you don't like Seattle as anyone's
And
landing
Carson.
spot. But Freeman is a better running back than every single running back we just mentioned. You can steal that spot.
Well, and it goes to what I said on the last episode, too. If you bring in a guy that's a tier above or more talented than the guys that are already there, then it doesn't matter if there's a mess there.
I mean, like, you look at a team like Baltimore's got a fucking shit ton of running backs. None of them are going to be better than some of the top
I actually
tier.
had Rashad Penny down to go there when I went off my top five because I have him over Michelle.
All right. I put down Detroit or Washington, similar situations where I think he can come in and win, but they're less crowded than...
Is Washington's less crowded than...
I don't know that Detroit's any less crowded either.
Or
with
Washington
Blunt,
and
Abdullah, and Riddick all there.
And you got Samaje Perine,
And
Chris
3
Thompson,
versus 4.
Matt Kelly.
I mean...
Not Matt Kelly. Rob
And,
Kelly,
and,
excuse me.
Zinner.
No, Zenner's gone.
Okay, but you still got Riddick, Abdullah, and Blunt all there, who are all guys that have been worthy of NFL carries in Detroit. I think that it's better in Washington, where Kelly showed nothing and then got hurt, and Perine showed nothing.
And got hurt.
I like Washington more than Detroit.
I'm just afraid of their offense.
All right, you guys talked me out of Detroit. Fine, Washington's my answer.
Yeah,
But I wanted him to go to a decent offense.
But it's a good talking
It's going
point.
to be Alex Smith with multiple tight end sets. He is able to be a pass catcher, so Chris Thompson isn't going to take all the work from him there, and he'll by far be the best between the tackles runner. And,
Yeah.
and when healthy, they have a good offensive line.
I like that.
When
pick,
healthy.
too.
Hashtag when healthy.
When
And,
healthy.
well,
Health
and-
matters.
and you got to wonder how much that hurt Perine last year too, with the fact that offensive line was not intact when he was getting his opportunities at all.
That is true, but I think Freeman is just out of the gate a much better runner.
I'm interested to see
he's
what Washington
more
does.
dynamic and better than Perine. I was just saying that, if they don't go that route, that it would be interesting to see what Perine can do with a line in front of him instead of a bunch of backups.
Yeah.
All right, and then I put down for if any back lands in for me in Baltimore or Seattle, it's a slight ding to him.
Depends on who it is for me. If I think that they're clear, far and away better than any of the glut of mess that both of those teams have, then I'm okay with it.
It just depends if they
it's-
decided to spend a day one or day two, early day two pick on a running
So
back.
if it's a top two, if it's a back that's in the top 2 tiers, I'm okay with it. If it's a guy when you get into those third tiers, when you get into the Jacksons and the Wadleys and those types of guys, I don't want anything to
definitely.
do with it.
Yeah.
Depends on who it is.
All right, moving on to wide receivers. Up first, we do have Cortland Sutton. Where do you want to see him land?
So the team I put down first was the Dolphins. I don't believe in Devontae Parker. I think that they need a true guy there that could be a number 1 because I don't think Parker's it. And I think that they need to actually bring in some good offensive talent, good young offensive talent.
But what about Albert Wilson and Danny Amendola?
Yeah, no, not good at all. I think they...
Ask me about that in 2 years.
The other guy I have, though, and I think this would be better for his fantasy production, or the other landing spot I have is the 49ers.
That's my top pick is the Niners. With Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Garoppolo, you can build his ex and number 1 QB for the future like he was able to do with other teams he's been on. This would be fantastic for him.
All right. Really dislike...
He's going to Dallas, though.
I really dislike the Dolphins. I like the 49ers, but my top choice would be him landing in the Cardinals and immediately becoming the top outside receiver.
I've got another interesting person that I put for the Cardinals going on later, but I agree with you.
I like the Niners more than the Cardinals.
He'd go opposite Fitzgerald, and then I'm still not necessarily dead on Chad Williams' ability yet.
Well,
either.
that and there's no
I don't-
quarterback there of the future. So
I
there's-
don't dislike Chad Williams, but I think he's probably a 2, not a 1.
I think that the Cardinals are in a position where they need to get their quarterback spot lined up either. So I think he's probably gone before he goes there. But if it's a dream scenario, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. On to Mr. Moore.
Cowboys.
I did the homer pick. I did Baltimore.
Okay.
I went with Dallas. I think that he's the type of receiver that fits Dak's game, as we've talked about here. I had the Packers down also as a Jordy Nelson replacement, but I don't think that they'll spend the draft capital that highly. And then the Raiders was the other one because I think he actually complements what Derek Carr does a lot, which isn't work the field deep or anything like that.
Didn't even think of the Raiders. I love him opposite of Cooper. That would be amazing.
Yeah, opposite Cooper, and he fits what Derek Carr does. Absolutely, I'm down with that. Because
After Jordy leaves?
yeah,
Or did you put Jordy in the slot?
you put Jordy in the slot.
God, Derek Carr, if that happened, Derek
Well,
Carr, oh, man, high buy
and,
for me.
And Moore and Jordy could swap between the two because Moore can run out of the
This
slot.
is what I like about him going to Baltimore. He doesn't have to be the team's number one. He gets to play alongside Michael Crabtree. Willie Snead will play out of the slot, and then once Crabtree's gone in a year or two, Moore takes over that spot. Ravens, by that point, will have a new quarterback. It's like I said, it's more of a homer pick for me, though. And he gets to stay in Maryland.
Yep. It's okay. I got a homer pick coming up.
Yeah.
and I did Dallas as well, just because I think Dak needs to run a West Coast offense, as we've talked about many times, and I think he looks perfect.
That's why the next guy that we're about to talk about, I love him in Dallas more.
I think Moore is going to be everything we had hoped Zay Jones would be.
I mean, his profile's much better than Zay Jones.
Exactly.
So.
I think he's going to be everything we hoped Zay Jones would be.
All right, Michael Gallup.
Dallas. I love your Bears. Bears is my number 2 actually for them, but I love him in Dallas because Dak doesn't force feed targets. He needs someone that can be a polished route runner. Gallup is probably the best all-around receiver in this draft class.
Coming out
At least right now, and that's what Dak needs, which would be great for Trubisky. I'm not going to step on your point though.
No, he would be. I think he'd be great for Trubisky. I think he'd be great with Robinson. That would give you 2 dynamic outside threats with Gabriel working deep. You could move Gallup around a little bit if you needed to. Same thing with Robinson and give him a lot of dynamic. Gallup's my favorite receiver in this class, though. Bears are my home team. I also had in addition to what you just said, I also had the Seahawks listed. I think that they need somebody opposite Baldwin that isn't Tyler Lockett.
I like
And
all.
Baldwin plays out of the slot, which would work well for Gallup because him and Wilson long term.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I like all 3 of the people you said, but my top choice for him would be the Colts to be opposite of Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And same type of thing. And he complements Ty really well. Ty's a deep threat. Gallup's a technician, a physical guy, a route runner that's not going to blow anybody away. So I love that take also.
At this point, hashtag all the landing spots are okay.
Yeah, there's very few places Gallup could go that I would not be
I
excited.
put Buffalo because
Only if he's buried would I not be excited.
Buried or no quarterback. That'd be,
that's why I put Buffalo. Like I don't know.
yeah, if you went to Buffalo or like,
That was the hardest one to think about.
or went to like the Vikings or a team
Yeah.
with just a logjam at receiver.
Yep.
All right,
Same.
Christian Kirk.
So I actually had the Cardinals first for Christian Kirk. He's a good route runner. He's athletic. He works over the middle of the field. He'll be, typically a slot receiver, which is where Fitzgerald's played more recently. And I think that as far as replacement level goes, a guy that can come in and be productive in, an offense, a guy that's going to help a young quarterback whenever they bring him in, that Christian Kirk's the perfect type of guy to do that.
I said Cincy. They've been starving for their wide receiver 2 to go with A.J. Green. They have filled it with Tyler Boyd. They have filled it with Josh Malone. We don't know about Malone or Boyd just yet. But Brandon LaFell is still their number 2, and that's the fucking problem. Christian Kirk finally gives them that true slot receiver number 2 guy that can be a great complement to an A.J. Green.
See, I wouldn't love his fantasy value in Cincy, though, because they don't use, really. Dalton doesn't throw a ton, and they've got Mixon there, who I'm hoping they try to build the offense around. I like the fit for the team.
Yeah.
Like you just said, I don't love the fantasy value. If he
I
lands
think
in
from that
Cincy.
is then we get to see what Dalton can actually do with 2 receivers that are actually, decent enough.
Yeah, I actually like the Bengals. The place I actually want to see him go is the Panthers, though, and be the number 2 next to Funchess.
I like it though. Kind of.
Yeah, I just don't think that Funchess is good enough to. I mean, Funchess is a 2, and I honestly, if the Panthers were to take a receiver, I would want it to be Sutton or Gallup. I'd want it to be Sutton probably,
Or Lazard.
Anthony Miller
or Lazard.
just because of Steve Smith.
Yeah, I want the Panthers to do somebody that can work outside opposite of Funchess. And then you have plenty of options for this. I mean,
Olsen, CMC.
See, here's my thought process. It's probably Olsen's last season. So they probably need a guy over the middle to replace that.
Get the tight ends when I start talking
So
about Carolina.
Goddard, Gesicki.
Also would be options, but also it gives him a player who can immediately come in and help him this year as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just great because he's gonna provide a lot of floor too. So wherever he lands, volume. Like I would have loved Green Bay to get rid of Randall Cobb and then put Christian Kirk here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd have been amazing.
As a Vikings fan, I'd hate that. As
The
a fantasy
Saints-
fan, that's awesome.
The Saints could still do it because they got rid of Willie Snead and they're now in void of a slot receiver. But I don't think
I
they're
have
going to spend a high capital.
I have
on-
somebody else in mind for the Saints.
Well, there's one guy left, so
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Calvin
Go with it,
Ridley.
Nick.
Go ahead.
I think Calvin Ridley would be a great fit on the Saints with how accurate Drew Brees is and his ability to run routes. Even though there's a lot of question marks in his game, he would crush it with Brees.
Yep. I had Ridley. I think the 3 teams I had down were the Raiders, Packers, Colts.
I put Dallas, and I know we've talked about Dallas, but and as I just said about Dak, with him needing just a guy who can already be open that he throws to instead of a guy that he needs to force feed targets.
Yeah, I don't.
But
see
it's also it's
Ridley's not a number 1 though,
yeah.
and I think that he just falls into that mess that's already there.
But Dallas could still draft number 1. I don't. Just from a fantasy perspective, I think this could be good for Ridley. I don't like it long term, like you just mentioned, the fact that he's not a number 1 receiver. But I think for what Dak needs right now and what they could build with him with that, I think it'd be good for him because he's a solid route runner, obviously great at separation. So
Yeah.
All right. Tight ends. Dallas Goedert, where do you want to see him land?
The first one I had down was the Saints.
Saints, Chalk.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
I want him to be everything that they had hoped Kobe Fleener would be. They haven't had a solid receiving tight end that can take advantage of Drew Brees' ability to do that since Ben Watson left town after Jimmy Graham left town. And I think
But Ben Watson's back.
which means, never mind, don't go there because you'll have your knees
Go there
taken out.
after.
Go there after Ben
Watson leaves.
Make that your second team.
All right. I put down the Dolphins.
What?
What
is your infatuation with Miami?
I actually had that for Gesicki.
Oh, then I flipped. I had Gesicki at the Saints.
Okay, cool.
I got a wild card for Gesicki.
But yeah, I wanted them, they really need help blocking, so I think Goddard can help them more than Gesicki can in that regard. They need a replacement for the middle of the field with Landry gone. And no, I do not believe in Albert Wilson or Danny Amendola.
Oh, good. We're in the same boat there.
I don't
then.
think anyone believes in them.
All right, so Gesicki, I put down the Saints just because he's Jimmy Graham 2-0.
Yeah.
I had the Dolphins. They need a tight end. The other team I had down is a dream scenario. It'd be the Jaguars. I know that they just brought in ASJ and whatnot, but I don't believe in him. So
you want better ASJ?
I want better ASJ. And I don't think that they need blocking as much.
This is my second homer pick. I put down Minnesota. The Kyle Rudolph's contract is up next. It's up in 2020. They can get out of it next year with no cap space. They have to pay a lot of players and Diggs, and to the whatnot. Diggs, Barr, Hunter, Waynes, and Mackenzie Alexander. If he progresses, Gesicki could be the Kyle Rudolph replacement. We've seen what Kirk Cousins can do with tight ends. I know there's a lot of mouths to feed there, but this would take that offense and even potentially Gesicki can even still dominate the targets if they don't bring a guy like Diggs back.
I had the Broncos down also, but Jake Butt.
But
Yeah, I mean that would not be a bad option to go to the Broncos either.
Yeah. I still want to. It's kind of like my third option, just because I still want to see what Butt can do.
All right.
you got no take on the Vikings, Nick?
I
Gesicki? I figured you
don't see it happening.
Not until Rudolph's gone.
And they have other
they've been
things
looking.
they need.
I know, but like I said, it's an outfield
Now-
range, something that I could actually see because they've been looking to replace. They've been looking for his successor potentially the last 2 years.
But
they filled on it.
I think if they go succession planning, though, they go somebody that's going to go later than.
Yeah, I think
Another player on
they
this
go
list
they
goes
go
there.
after like Thomas or Conklin.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Hayden Hurst.
I had the Ravens down, and
Yeah.
the Saints, and it's just because he's almost a strict move guy, and both of those teams have been missing tight ends, which was a big piece of their offense before. The coaching staffs haven't changed, the quarterbacks haven't changed.
I put down Carolina as the Greg Olsen type of replacement. He can be the reliable pass catcher that Cam has always liked in Greg Olsen. Olsen, we don't know how long he has left there.
I don't like him there strictly because of his age. I don't want him sitting for a year.
It depends when Olsen. I thought about that, and it just depends when Olsen decides to call it quits. The foot injury's been a big issue for him. It was a big issue for him last year.
Yep.
He's getting older, and it may continue to be the case.
I put down the Jets.
Yeah,
'cause they need a tight
the
end.
Jets kind of have a bunch of throw shit at the wall and hope it sticks. So yeah, Hayden Hurst and the Jets would make sense. Again, just the age thing. I don't necessarily like him in a rebuild, but
I mean, but they need a weapon. They need a middle of the field weapon. He can play multiple positions.
they do. But okay, he is better than Leggett, I guess.
Yeah, Leggett's
And
the only,
Hodges.
Leggett's the only other guy they really have. They have Hodges.
They have Hodges also, but
Hodges
Hodges
is on the same level as Leggett at this point.
No, I think Leggett was better as a pure tight end than Hodges was.
Yeah, Hurst would come in and immediately be the best tight end on that team.
Yeah,
and he's
even if it's only marginally.
so
Yeah.
for him, I was just like, where can he go and produce immediately? Jets.
I also put down New Orleans because of that same reason.
No, the next guy, I think,
Andrews.
yes, he's the one I really want to land in Baltimore.
That's also what I put down
Because
too.
When you think Dennis Pitta, it's basically Mark Andrews.
Yeah, find the soft spot in the zone, catch the ball, turn upfield.
Yeah. Oh,
Or
well, then
Jason Witten would
well,
also
then
be
we'll give.
comparable.
Well, then we'll give one other team. Maybe it wasn't so much for fantasy, but I put down Houston.
I had Pittsburgh.
I
forgot about Houston though. Houston's a good
Houston because Watson needs another possession style guy.
And Steven Anderson's the only tight end they have right now.
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
he's not worth
because
a
the other
damn.
two are done.
So yeah,
You get a headache.
I
there,
put down
too.
the Ravens for Andrews. I think he's a better fit for their middle of the field attack.
And they need a tight end.
I said Ian Thomas should go to the Texans.
Yeah,
I'm going to the Vikings.
Ian,
as
Ian
well.
Thomas is a very good one for the Texans. I had Thomas down Seahawks.
Also would be a good option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that Dixon's not a long term answer for
No,
me
he's
either.
not.
And, I mean, when you get down to Thomas and I guess some of the other guys at this tier too, it's projection based on what could happen in 2 to 3 years. That's
The
why I
other-
put down the Vikings.
The other one I had for Thomas was the Cardinals.
It's the Jermaine Gresham, RSJ
Yeah,
type of
I mean,
six-seater.
RSJ and Momo were not highly touted, so I don't know how much of RSJ's performance last year was talent versus opportunity.
All right. And then before we get to a beer review here, we are done with landing spot matters. Let's go ahead and do Commissioner Handshake best practices. So this is our advice to players as they're going on the big stage.
Just be like Tack
Oh, good. It's
McKinley.
Goodell's music.
It is Goodell's music. That's why I did that. I actually had that from the last time we talked about Roger Goodell.
At some
About
point,
that.
there are times where Hopper just does everything right. And
That-
it just
that was
works in-
perfect.
It works.
That
in-
was one of them.
It works in magic.
For those of you who weren't watching on YouTube, I almost fell out of my goddamn chair. All right. So you're the player. You're heading up on stage to shake hands with Darth Vader himself. What are your best practices to make it an iconic moment?
Well, don't piss him off to get choked.
Do stuff, don't suck.
So slap the "Don't Suck" sign on the way in. Got it.
Yeah, don't suck.
Swear.
So like, are
So
you going in for like just the formal handshake? Are you going in for the bro hug? How are you handling this?
I'm going in for the regular handshake. I'm not bros with Roger Goodell. You know he's about to be public enemy number one and find the shit out of you. I'm going in, nice, firm, respectful handshake. Get off my podium. I want to talk.
I'm going in straight up frat boy style. I'm gonna go in
Chest bump it?
with the handshake, the butt slap,
You're gonna slap it, Goodell's
and
ass.
then probably say something with the F word in it. Maybe shout out. I'm going Tack McKinley.
You're gonna attack McKinley
Like
this shit.
you gotta swear. You gotta show that energy. I've been fucking drafted for God's sakes.
I love
Holy
Dak
fuck, we
McKinley
made it.
for that reason.
Yep.
I can't
That
wait.
only reason.
Swearing about his grandmother.
I can't wait for that. Just the energy, and I hope to God we get another announcement as good as we did in Philly. last
God,
year.
with the Dallas guy?
Yes.
It's in Dallas this year, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yes.
do they have a Philly player coming in?
I
Oh, they
hope so.
got it. And they just won the Super Bowl, so they're gonna rub that shit in.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I want Jason Kelsey to announce a pick.
Yes.
So-
With the same get up he had during the
So just wearing the
parade.
underdog hat.
Yeah.
So the only other advice I give, if you do go for the hug, it has to be the bro hug. So you got to do handshake into the hug. You can't just do like the two-handed, like lift the commissioner off his feet.
You can
hug.
cry, but not too much.
Bear hug. Put him in a submission hold.
Yeah.
Get the commissioner to tap
Take
out.
him out for
Make him tap.
take him out for a few picks.
Have your hype man come up and tap him out.
With the
1, 2, 3.
with the big old watch.
All right. So that was just a little bit of fun. Somebody on Twitter wanted us to have that quick segment. So let's go ahead and get a beer review before we get into our flag players.
Beer review.
So what do you guys think of Old Bakery Beer's Citrus Wheat?
It's very citrusy up front. It's got an herbal taste on the back end. It kind of blends together. It's got good flavor if you're into that type of flavor. It's a very drinkable beer.
My first about 2 or 3 tastes, it was a white ale or Belgian ale. Just they're not my flavor, but as I've gotten through half the beer, you get more of the citrus up front, and you get less of that fucking skunky taste that I'm just not a fan of. But overall, it's good.
I'm actually usually not a huge wheat fan, but I wanted to give this one a shot because we hadn't had one in a while, and I actually really, really like this.
I am a big wheat fan, and I like this. So.
This is really good. I need to have some more of their stuff because they have their IPA that's pour over coffee, right?
Yes,
Ooh.
they have a lot of good stuff.
That sounds delicious.
Like I said, I've been to that brew pub, and they do a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of different tasting stuff.
So yeah, I want to get them on again soon because this was fantastic.
What's the percentage on this, Nick?
4.7. All right,
It tastes stronger than 4.7.
but not in a bad way. It just tastes like it's probably close to 6 probably.
We also just drink at 6.8, so
yeah, we're feeling it at this point. Should we get to flag players?
Let's do that.
let's plant our
You mean
flag.
rookie shot calls? Call your shots?
The call your shots work too.
Shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. Caller getting laid tonight. Switch a roll blade. Wait tonight. I hit the highway. Making money the flyway.
Sorry, I meant to change it in your notes to fit the drop because we did. I mean, it's rookie call your shots. We did call your shots when we went into the season last year, so that's where the segment name came from. And I wanted to use that song.
All right. Well, you either had to,
I just love
you either had
that
to actually
song.
change it, which you didn't, or message me that. By the way, we should call it call your shots.
No,
I forgot.
I didn't. So I tried to adjust it on the fly, and yeah, that
You're
was
supposed to read his mind, Mom.
that was my bad. I dropped the ball on that.
All right. Let's not drop the shots though. Let's go through each one of our call your shots players. I asked each of the guys to do 2 to 3 players that they want to call their shot on that they think is going to be better than where people are currently projecting to be. Either it's higher than the group here for the 3 of us or just higher than the industry overall. Hopper, kick us off first.
So I actually did 1 for each position. So 4. I don't follow directions. I'm a rebel. So quarterback, I have Mike White. Mike White is a guy that I've been. These are not going to be surprises to anybody that's been following us through this draft prep. But Mike White has a big arm. He's a great pocket passer. He's a very accurate quarterback. He anticipates better than anybody in this class. And I think as a pure traditional style quarterback, he's a guy that a lot of people are sleeping on that, landing spot matters. But I think that in a couple of years, even if he lands behind somebody where he can come in succession, like a Drew Brees, for example, that he's going to be a guy that's really good. So, do you want me to go through my entire list, or do you want to rotate?
Nope, rotate. So, Dan, you're up next.
I did all 3 at the same position. So,
Okay.
But I would have picked Mike White if we were just because he's just like Hopper's. Like he's my favorite tier 3 quarterback, tier 2, tier 3. He's my tier 2. He's my favorite. Sit behind a Breeze, a Brady, a Big Ben. Even go to a team like Arizona, or like even the Jets. Even if they decide to wait, to where you can. He doesn't have to play for the first couple years, and he succeeds.
Yeah, because his mental game is fantastic. He just needs to keep working on some of his
He just needs to find some athleticism. Take that pill if there's one for it.
whatever it is. Just work on those
Take
street
athletic-
codes.
I don't think that pill helps for athleticism. And I think if you do take pills to hop for athleticism, you end up in a Mark Sanchez situation.
Oh
Yes.
my God! A butt fumble?
All right, and the first guy I wanted to bring up was. Did you actually end up bringing up a guy?
We can move on.
Wait, did you?
No,
You
were up next.
I did 3 receivers, so
So
that's
then
why.
talk about a
Okay.
receiver.
Go ahead
So
and talk
I
about a
picked
receiver.
Anthony Miller as my number 1. I've been hyping him up, just like with Hopper saying. If you've been listening to the show long enough, our players here, and I absolutely love Anthony Miller's style as a route runner. Can win at all 3 levels. I think he can come in and be a team's number 2 and even have a chance to be a team's number 1. He's the most aggressive runner I've seen since Steve Smith.
Yeah, he is. His tape was just fun.
It's like he made I hate Riley Ferguson, and he made me hate him even more because you should have got him the ball even more.
Yeah, the game against UCLA where he was just wrecking them himself was amazing. So big fan of Anthony Miller. He almost made my list. First guy I want to talk about for mine is going to be Bo Scarborough. He's just a player where he's going 3rd round of mock drafts. I've even seen him slip to the 4th round for rookie mocks right now. I think he's going to go higher in the NFL draft than people expect. He's a guy who flashed a lot of skill. He's a top-tier recruit coming out. And I think he's going to have the ability to show us something in the NFL. He may simmer for a while in kind of a dual back role, but if there's anybody who's going late, he's the one player I'm planting my flag on of a running back you can get late who might be a 3-down back for you.
All right, coming back around to me, I'm going to go to my running back. This also won't be a giant surprise. Anybody have any guesses as to what this is going to be?
Freeman?
It is. Royce Freeman's a guy that I think he belongs more mid-first than late-first, which is where he's been going, or even early second in a few drafts.
And we're starting to push him up.
We're starting to push him up. We're doing our best, but again, he's a guy that checks all the boxes that you want. He's got size, he's got athleticism, he's got vision, he's got hands, which are the raw traits that you really need to succeed as a running back. So Royce Freeman's a guy that, if I'm picking mid-first round, that I'm really looking at taking because he's a guy that I think has a future as a 3-down back in the NFL and a pretty good one.
I'm going to go on the fly switch here so I don't do 3 of the same positions. Mine is going to be John Kelly here.
I've almost switched Freeman to John Kelly.
I've been high on John Kelly since I watched his tape. I think I was the first one to watch it, and then I hyped it up to Hopper. Well, one of us watched it first. We both hyped it up to each other, and it's been we finally got Nick on board when he decided to watch rookie tapes. And he's one of the last of that lower tier 2, tier 3 hubs, up that, in that range that could be a 3-down back. He's got extremely good balance. I called him out to be this year's Kareem Hunt if he can get a chance, because I think he'll go late enough in the draft where he may not be a clear starter from week 1, but if he can land in a spot that he can just take that role over, say a Baltimore or a Seattle, he could end up being a great steal for people that take him in the actual draft.
Yeah, I mean, I still like John Kelly. His 40 time worried me a little bit.
I've gone lukewarm on that. But it's just it's the who knows. There's some that said that he ran a 4.5, and then you've seen reports of a 4.67, 4.69. That's a massive gap.
He's still a guy that I loved his tape, and he's a guy that in that middle section before you get to guys that don't profile as 3-round backs that I'm going to take between the guys that are more of a sure thing versus the guys that may be role players. I think he kind of sits on the fringe of that.
All right. I'm actually going to skip my wide receiver and come back to him in a moment. I want to highlight Tyler Conklin, though, tight end, Central Michigan. I thought he had the best hands of anybody I saw in this tight end class, and he's the one guy I think that you might be able to grab super, super later, even as a UDFA and stash in a taxi squad in Dynasty League, just because the hype on him is pretty minor to non-existent, and I really liked what I saw on tape for him. So he is my tight end flag.
Very little hype on him. Starting to just a little bit.
Yeah, people are like, oh, he's a guy.
He
exists.
I hope so. He does survive things, and he is an actual human being.
Yeah.
But I really liked his tape. He is my number 3 tight end in this class, and he's going to be my flag player, or my shot, I guess.
I'm going to go ahead and plant on my tight end and also skip my wide receiver for now. My number 3 tight end is Ian Thomas. I think he's a guy that showed enough after the catch. He changed speed in his routes, showed enough as a move tight end and enough as a blocker, which is how he was primarily used, to where he's a guy that Hayden Hurst is going to go too high. Gesicki and Goddard are going to go where they should go because they're the most sure things in this draft. But after them, I think that Ian Thomas is one of the most talented in this draft. He's got the most upside. He's raw, but I think he can develop into something. And with what I've seen on tape, he's a guy that I'd be willing to invest in.
I didn't pick a tight end, but if I did, I would have been Ian Thomas. So I will go to one of my second receivers. That's to be Traquan Smith. Again, if you listen to the show, I've been hyping this guy up since I watched his tape. He's going to go low enough in the draft where he may not get a chance as a wide receiver 1. He projects to be more of a 2, but he's got the athleticism and the upside in terms of his size, arm length, hand size of those sorts to be a great outside receiver, sitting at 6'2", posting that ridiculous vertical, for his size. If he can land on a team that shows any sort of, of volume to their receivers, I absolutely love it.
All right, Nick.
All right, my last player that I did on this call out was I wanted to highlight my love for DJ Moore. Normally, I wouldn't want to call a guy who's this high in our rankings, but since I was
Cheater.
higher than both of you two,
By 0.1.
You had him at 7.9?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were the one lower at 7.6.
I was at 7.6, yeah.
So for me, he's one of the best metric prospects we've had in a very long time, probably since the 2014 class.
He may be. No, I think he's better than everyone from that class, to be honest. I think just based from that.
So everything is telling us that DJ Moore should be a amazing wide receiver.
So he's the Aaron Curry of receivers.
So yes, he's the safest player in the draft. I can't believe there's not more hype on this guy. I think he's going to go a lot higher in the NFL draft than people are projecting because I see him going in like the late first round or undrafted in most mocks.
Undrafted?
In the first round, I mean.
Oh.
So he's not showing up in first round mocks.
I was going to say undrafted would be wild.
So I think he probably ends up going in the top 10 or 15 picks of this draft, and then the hype is going to take off for him.
All right. The last guy that I had listed is Michael Gallup. He's a guy that I'm high on. I think might be one of the highest on.
I think we're actually chalk on him at 7.5.
Either way, he's an exceptional route runner. He's got a lot of the things I liked about Cooper Kupp is to where he does a lot of the technicalities well. Not comparing him to Cooper Kupp, he's got more upside, but same love, basically. He runs routes well. He's just physical. He didn't get shut down by Alabama's corners, which are the closest you can get to NFL competition. He's got good hands. He does everything you want in a wide receiver. He's got decent size. And I think that wherever he lands, that he's going to be a really good wide receiver with some floor. And he's got a bit of upside to him also. He's a guy that's not being talked about nearly high enough, in my opinion. I think that he belongs ahead of guys like Ridley and Kirk, and that's not where he's projected. So that's my flag guy.
Yep.
My last one.
He's my number 3 receiver, and I think he's all of our third.
He's all of our threes. Mine, my last one should come as no surprise, as Hopper just mentioned Cooper Kupp. Mine is the quote-unquote Cooper Kupp replacement in Trey Quinn. Absolutely love Trey Quinn. He's a one-year wonder at SMU, but he's able to outshine the consistent number 1 receiver in our rankings in Cortland Sutton. He was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. LSU's just a college where receivers go to die, apparently. Trey Quinn got out of there, was able to produce at a high level, high dominator rating. I think he'll get drafted low enough where he may have to battle up some depth charts, but in terms of slot receivers, he stands above most, if not all of them, in my eyes.
I agree with you completely. Trey Quinn's a guy that's going to fly under the radar. He's going to be a good floor guy for a lot of years.
Yeah, I have a few concerns about him, but he is one of the premier landing spot matters guys for me. How early he goes in the draft will drastically influence where he'll move in my rankings.
I actually want him to go to Chicago.
I would not mind him there at all.
I also would not mind that in the least bit.
Because he can be what Kupp was to Goff. If people are going to keep talking about Trubisky as being the next Goff, then why not get the next Kupp with more upside?
Get him a good slot
and
receiver.
Younger.
Yep. Actually, no, you're good.
All right, so that is the wrap-up on this pre-draft episode. We just wanted to go through a few of those things there, talk about hashtag landing spot matters, have some fun with a Commissioner Handshake preview, and then lastly, call our shots on a couple players that we've really liked during this pre-draft process. Now we get to see where all the chips fall on the draft. So as a reminder, tomorrow we will be live on YouTube covering the first round of the NFL
that just
draft.
Completely mind fucked me because I forgot we're in the future right
yes,
now.
we are in Wednesday.
Okay.
I know it's Saturday, but we're in
what
Wednesday.
What the fuck happened to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday? And
yeah.
I'd be fine with it just being Wednesday. That'd be great.
All
No,
right.
I want it to be Thursday.
It's Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
Yes.
So I hope you're excited for the NFL draft as we are. We will be live on YouTube, Beer Fuel Fantasy Football. Come watch with us. I think we're going to try to set something up where we're going to have some guests come in and talk with us during that time.
If they want to.
So we'll see how that goes. it's going to be fun. I think we're just going to try a few things. It's something that we do every single year where we've drank and watched the draft.
We've done it 1 year, every single year.
Literally, we've done this every year
every
where
year.
you and I watch the draft.
Yeah,
last year
do.
last year was the first year that we streamed it.
That's true. You are right there.
We've recorded it once.
And then this year we're just going to try to keep upping the ante a little bit. So this is going to be something we're planning on. As long as this podcast is going, this is something you're going to look forward to every single year with us. So I hope you're as excited as we are.
We hope. We hope. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. We'll get a little messy, and we'll have some fun with
Yeah,
it.
by about pick 12, depending on how our draft boards fall out, we may be pretty drunk.
And then Friday we'll be really awful at work.
Yep.
Yep.
But it's worth it.
So thank you so much for tuning into this episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed the pre-draft process. I hope you're better prepared for the NFL draft when it comes to fantasy skill players. And we'll catch you on the other side of it when we start talking about where these guys landed and what it means for their fantasy value.
And how it impacts where we had them originally.
Yep. So thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you guys
Next time
on Beer Fuel Fantasy Football.
See ya. And remember, #landing spot matters.
Absolutely.